In these, a featherweight and super comfortable.
Why are you still wearing those old clunky shin pads when you could be wearing these?
I used to struggle with shin guards sliding all game. These are a game changer. Put them on, you don't even notice them. They're comfortable, keep it going until finish.
It shows how fast you move on the pitch because it's stuck to the shin bone and does not slip and slide all around your shin.
No distractions, no readjusting, just focus on the match. What I like about these is you can wear them all day. Training, recovery, travel, they never lose shape. The material is soft and supportive. It's the perfect mix of comfort and performance. These guards are so lightweight, you forget they're even there. These guards are so lightweight, you forget they're even there, but they still give solid protection. It's like full freedom to play a game without that clunky feeling. Training, recovery, travel, they never lose shape. What I like about these is you can wear them all day. Training, recovery, travel, they never lose shape. The material is soft and supportive. It's the perfect mix of comfort and performance. The first thing I notice is that these guards don't move. Once they're in place, they stay there. I can tackle, sprint, or slide without adjusting them. You feel secure and locked in. My first impressions of the Goats guards, honestly, super light and super clean. Straight away, you can tell they're built to move with you. No bulk, just sleek protection that actually feels pro. These guards don't move. The first thing I notice is that these guards don't move. Once they're in place, they stay there. I can tackle, sprint, or slide without adjusting them. You feel secure and locked in. No bulk, just sleek protection that actually feels pro. My first impressions of the Goats guards, honestly, super light and super clean. Straight away, you can tell they're built to move with you. No bulk, just sleek protection that actually feels pro. These grips actually help you push up.
Hi everyone, I hope you're well. Welcome to another weekly coaching call on the professional player pathway with Raymond Wood. Apologies, we're a couple of minutes coming on there, a little bit late, but we think we've got everyone live on here, so it's good to see us again as ever, guys. Make sure if you're not a subscriber, can you please subscribe to the YouTube channel, and that way you'll be able to ask questions and we can answer them as best as possible for you. And I'm just going to doubly check that we're definitely live and you can see us. Perfect, I'm seeing all of that. So we're going to get straight into it, guys, and just a slight little change as well. What we're going to do is on our 4 to 5 weekly calls that we do every week, one of the big things that we're going to do is we're probably going to drop it half an hour before on school, a little bit around what we're going to cover during the call. So without further ado, I will pull up on my screen for everyone to see. Hopefully you guys are seeing my screen. So if we go into the classroom and then obviously into community, you'll notice today's meeting. So these are the topics that we're going to cover today. So I've spoken to you again, guys, about if you're not subscribed on YouTube or Facebook, you need to. We're going to talk a little bit around trials. And the next thing that we need to do is a little bit on within school, and then a little bit in regards to updates in school, a little bit about beep tests, and then we've got a topic that we're going to be talking about. Now, many of you have sent in different topics, and what I've decided to do is I'm going to go down the leaderboard. So Khaleesi sent us in, and you'll see the leaderboard for the last 30 days. She's flying. So because Khaleesi sent us in a topic to cover, I'm actually going to cover that topic today, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a walkthrough on the question that she mentioned. So on the next call, if we've got Xavier Simon, if Xavier's here or he's not, if he puts the question in, I'll then choose him. So that way, it's going to reward the boys and girls on the leaderboard to be able to get questions answered by me, and I'll actually cover that topic for you. We're getting more and more people joining the Pro Player Pathway now, and I think the fairest way to do it is by the leaderboard. If you're wondering how you get to the top of the leaderboard, it's all about putting posts on the community here that you're looking at. It's about making comments, it's liking comments and posts, it's asking questions, and it's also going through the different sections of our course as well. So that's a little bit about subscribing. The next thing I'm going to speak to you about is, and I think I've got it on here, is trials. So we've covered this a lot of times, but again, for those that haven't seen it or are not aware of it, we are going to speak a little bit about trials. So we've got trials coming up in Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane. And again, if you want to search anything to do with trials when you're in the community, if you just type in trials and hit enter, it should pull up the latest posts and anything to do with trials. And then obviously this is the one that we're currently looking at today. So if you were to click on Sydney, you will see we've got 50 free tickets to give away. And at the moment, I think we've given about 21 tickets away. So we've still got probably in the region of around about 20 to 30 for Sydney. The dates and times are on there with the location. And again, I can then show you into Melbourne. Melbourne's exactly the same, but it's on the 11th of January, and there's the information, and it's at La Trobe University. And then we can drop back in and we can go to Brisbane. And Brisbane is on Wednesday, the 7th of January at QUT. And again, we've got 50 free tickets to get. All you do is hit get tickets and you can get your free ticket there. You can purchase an upgraded ticket. With the upgraded ticket, you do get a package from Goats worth $250, and there's also a little VIP extra surprise that we're going to give the paid tickets on the day or night as well. So that's a little bit about trials, what I wanted to speak to you about with trials. And we'll just clear that search bar off there, and then we'll go back into our community. So a little next section that we're going to talk about is probably one thing to fix. So we dropped in a little bit of a question on here a couple of days ago now. And one of the things that we want to fix, and I will see if I can put this in here, if it'll come up for me. Typical, it probably won't come up when I'm looking for it, but we will come back to that one. And the next thing I want to take you through now is the big update within school. So some of you may or may not have seen there's been some changes into school. You'll notice some of the images have changed. If you go into Classroom now as well, you will notice the Classroom looks completely different. We've had not only a facelift, but also you will notice little things and subtle changes if you go on the back end. I've spent best part of 6 months updating this for you guys to make sure it's easy to access and it's easy to get around. So you can earn affiliate links here. So just by sharing your link, you can get paid 40%. A little bit about the how-to guide, a little bit how you can become a pro. So it's basically an all done for you video, which takes about 12 minutes, and it takes you through all the different sections. Section 12 is about your hours, section 5 is match objectives. But if we come back out, we've covered this a little bit, but you'll notice now every section's got a number. Match analysis is number 2. The football blueprint is number 6. and you'll notice it's being updated all the way through. So it's looking pretty smart at the moment. So hopefully, guys, you appreciate the upgrades. Also, you'll notice, as an example, if you were to go into the how-to guide, it's completely different, and there's a section for every section of the school platform. So if you want to know how to do the live weekly coaching calls or the dugout, click on, and there's a video there for you, completely done and being updated fully. Also, you'll notice little changes as well with things if we come into the Become a Pro. So there is a little intro on this page, and then you'll go into the main part there. Also, again, as you're coming through, you'll notice in the dugout is going to change a lot over the next couple of months. We're updating it, upgrading it, and it's basically going to be coming up to Premier League standards. So every single session, 1-on-1, 3v3, 5v5, anything you find in here is going to be the same as what the guys in the UK and in the Premier League get. You'll notice one of the big things that we've done in with the dugout is the beep test. So we've actually covered what's the Premier League level for a beep test and why this is important. So one of the big things we always get asked is, why do we do beep tests and what's the importance of them? So as I said to you, in the Premier League, as an example, and this example I give you is players who are age 17, but players who are age 17, this is what they need to get to. So a minimum acceptable level. So if you were going in on a trial to, say, Liverpool Football Club or Arsenal, they'd be looking for you to be able to do a beep test of a minimum of around about 13.5 to 14.5. If you want to stand any chance of not only getting the trial but making the trial successful, to be competitive and to be on a level with where all of their players will be, you would need to be 14.8 or above. And then if you want to wow the pants off any Premier League club or La Liga club or any club around the world, wherever it may be, you need to be 16 or above on your beep test score. Now, for some of you might say, well, I'm 16 or 17 and I can't even get past level 9. That's okay. That is okay. It's a starting point. And if you follow the program properly, you will discover how to get past that. So there's another slide on here called the beep test, and it enables you on how to set up, and it gives you the measurements. Now there is information here, but this is general information. So don't look at the general information, but to record your beep tests, you've got your little attachments here. Now, one of the big things that we want to impress on you though is what we call a foundational beep test, okay? And this is what we want everyone to do. So I've recorded a really short and sharp 7-minute video. If you follow that video, it's going to explain how to get what we call your foundational base. So at the end, if your foundational base comes out to 8.1, that's your starting point. Then the next time you do your beep test, you've got to get to 8.2. And we keep moving up in small increments, 0.1 increments each time. So this is a really, really important section, and I might guide some of you to these sections. And the first thing I might ask you is, how's your beep test going? Have you done a foundational beep test? And you'll go, yeah. And I'll go, okay, send me your results. And then you'll DM the results to me. If you haven't DM'd the results to me, then that basically goes down as you haven't done one. So a challenge I'm going to have for everyone, and you've got 1 week to complete it. You need to go in to the dugout. So I'll show you how to get there again. Classroom. Number 10, the dugout. Then you're going to go beep test. And for me, go straight to this one, how to record a foundational beep test. And what I'll do is, to make it simple, I'll move it up one there so you can have a quick read of what Premier League players need to get, and then how to record a foundational base beep test. It means you've got to do 3 beep tests in 7 days, follow the video, upload your results on this attachment, send it to me as a DM. And once you've done that, then we'll be able to then discuss what your next moves are, okay? And it will explain what your next moves are after that. I've seen this before where we've had players at clubs, not just in the Premier League, but I've been involved with semi-professional clubs. And we've improved, let's say, a 15-year-old, and let's say their minimum entry level's 14, but they can only get to 8. I've got them to 14 or 15 just on the beep test alone, and they've all of a sudden become the best player in that team. And then all of a sudden they've had the trial, and then all of a sudden they've signed for a pro club. So it's amazing that just something as simple as a beep test done 2 to 3 times a week can be the difference in getting selected as a professional or not. So how bad do you really want it, guys? And that's the question I've got for you. Now, if you haven't done so, excuse me, I will get you to drop some questions into YouTube on the comments section for me. And if you drop some questions in, I will answer them for you on the next little segment that we're going to go to. We are going to go to a very, very, very short break just to give everyone a chance to get a drink, run the bathroom, and we will be back with you in exactly 60 seconds. I'll see you then.
You don't bunch up, you don't get sweaty. Simple as that.
One of the things I noticed about my Goats grip socks is the grip runs across the whole panel, so there's no bunching or sliding in your boots.
These grip pads will help you not slip when you're going in for a tackle.
My old socks will get sweaty halfway through the game. Not with Ghost grips, they stay cool and dry from start to finish.
These guards are so lightweight, you forget they're even there, but they still give solid protection. It's like full freedom to play a game without that clunky feeling. I used to wear bulky guards that slip down every game. They stay in place the whole time.
These shin pads are stretchy, durable, definitely not be ripping anytime soon.
Switch the goat sleeves now. They don't slip, they don't slide. Nice and snug, nice and tight.
It's crazy how light these things are. I've worn a lot of old school pads in my time. In these, are featherweight and super comfortable.
Why are you still wearing those old clunky shin pads when you could be wearing these?
Hi everyone, thank you for coming back to us again. Hopefully you've all got a quick drink and you're ready to go again for the next little section. So we've still got about 40 minutes to go here, guys. So there's no questions being dropped into the to the chat yet. So if you've got any questions whatsoever, guys, please drop them into the chat because we are going to have Q&A coming up in a few minutes' time. Now, I am just going to go back into... Let me see if I can just make this happen. I'm just going to get back into my screen here. And hopefully you can see the screen. Now, what we're going to have a little look at now, we're just going to go back into the community and go back to our updates from today. So we've covered a little bit about the beep test as well. We've covered the big updates in school. The next thing that we are going to look at is Khaleesi's topic that she wanted to have a look at. Centre midfielders and positioning and runs. So what I want you to do is, whilst we go into this particular topic, I want you to think about centre midfielders, and I want you to think about maybe some of the best centre midfielders of all time, maybe the current best centre midfielders that we've currently got, whether they play in the Premier League, maybe they play for the US national team, maybe they play for the Socceroos, the Matildas. I want you to think about your best player who plays centre midfield and think about positioning and thinking about runs. And then what I want you to do is in the comments in YouTube now, while I get set up to the screen, and I'm going to connect my whiteboard so I can do some diagrams for you, I want you to put down your favourite player who plays centre mid. Give me an example of why they're your favourite centre midfielder. And if you want to, you don't have to, but if you want to, you can build on that a little bit as well and talk a little bit about some of the runs or the positioning. And I'm also going to give you my favourite centre midfielder of all time. And I think some of you will be shocked at who it is, because I think some of you will think it's a Liverpool player, but it's actually not. So if you can put that down for me, guys, into YouTube. So centre midfielder, positioning and runs. And whilst user sends me a message, I'm just going to connect up my screen and I'm going to see if I can just do a little bit of a masterclass for 10 to 15 minutes with you. So I will just see if I can get this screen connected. So just bear with me and make sure you're dropping in your suggestions on the screen as well. Okay, so I've got my screen up there. So centre midfielders, positioning and runs, and I'm just going to load up YouTube on my phone so I can see some of the different players and different questions we've got coming in. So we have had another couple of questions coming at the top, and I'll come back to them in a moment. So just give me a few seconds on that one, but let's have a look. Okay, this is a good one for Djokic. Mesha, and he's number 8 for Borussia Dortmund. He makes incredible runs, has very good positioning and opening up the pitch as well. So guys, if you haven't put any suggestions in there or any midfielders, then drop them in for me. Now, I'm going to just do a couple of diagrams and I'm going to wipe my screen, but just remember as well, this is recorded. So the good thing with this is, guys, where it's recorded within school, you can go back and watch this back. You don't need to listen to the whole beginning again. You can just get straight to this section where I'm doing the diagram. So I'm going to give you a couple of areas within the centre midfield. So the first thing we're going to cover off within the centre midfield and position and runs. Now, within the midfield, we have a couple of variations of positions you can play. So if we've got teams who play conventionally, let's say 4-3-3, we might end up with 2 holding midfielders and an attacking midfielder in the 3. The other variation that we have with that, sometimes we might end up with someone in the point and then we have 2 high. On some really odd occasions, I've actually seen it really strange as well. I've actually seen some teams set up straight through the middle with 3, but the problem with this is it leaves a lot of spaces in between the lines here, which is always a worry for me as a coach, and it's a great thing to play against. I've seen this a lot in the US, so I used to always enjoy coaching against teams in the US. So let's say if we're talking about centre midfielder, let's say if we're talking about one of the centre midfielders, position and runs, who plays slightly higher up, and let's say they play up in the point here, okay? Now, the first thing that we've got to be really good at within this position, and it doesn't matter whether we're playing 4-3-3 or we're playing a 4-4-2 with a diamond. So we could have a 4-4-2 with a diamond, which is quite a common one, but doesn't get used a lot in Australia or the USA, and I don't know why, because it is quite a powerful one that you can use. So let's just have a little look at this particular player for this scenario. Now, when we're talking about positioning and we're talking about types of runs, I would actually look at it back to front. I would actually look at the runs first, because position for me is not important. It is important, but I would like to see a run made first to get you in a better position in the pitch. Now, one of the most common runs that I like to see from players playing in this high up position here is actually what we call like a semi-inverted run, actually going back towards their own goal. And there's a couple of reasons why some of the best midfielders in this position do this. So let's say for this scenario, this midfielder is attacking in that way, okay? Now, one of the big problems that this midfielder is up against is opposing players around him or her. So by making a run slightly back into your own section of your pitch, to there or there, okay, you're probably going to lose your opposing player who's marking you. Now, the good thing with this is, if you do make those runs into those positions and the opposing player does follow you in, you do something really good for your team. By you moving into this space and the opposing player comes with you, or if you move into this space and the opposing player comes with you, what you've actually done is you've created this huge piece of space for your teammates to expose. And this could be an overlapping fullback coming from there, okay? And that could be one of the best things you could do. So when we talk about the best midfielders in the world, it's normally the players who are very, very unselfish and are looking to open up opportunities for the teammates. Now, let's have a look at this the other way. Let's say if we were to have our player back here, and let's imagine they've made the run to there, just into this little position there, and no one has followed them in, okay? All of a sudden, they can then position themselves here to receive the ball. Now, if the opposing player has stayed there and there, and let's say these are the opposing players, it's then going to force one or two things to happen. And this is when we talk about positions and runs, why it's so important. So in stage one, the player has made a run towards their own goal, okay? Now, by making that run, that defender's not followed them, so that defender stayed there, that defender stayed there. Now, the next thing that will happen, and I see this happen a lot, if this player decides to make a run in that direction, this player will automatically come across. This player will automatically come across to cover. And as those players do this, and this player comes and meets there, and this player comes and meets there, again, you are creating this whole pocket of space for your teammates to run in. Now, I know a lot of people are thinking, well, midfielders, the best midfielders are normally the ones who can ping the pass. No. What people don't watch for in the game is they don't look for what the player does off the ball. They don't look for what the player does once they find the space. And then they don't look at what they actually do next, which is them making a run, or for some of us, we might call it a dribble. Or, in England, we call it driving with the ball. Now, there's a reason why driving with the ball is so important, and I've just shown you it, but I'll show you it again. If we imagine that our player has got the ball and he's found himself in space after making that little movement towards his own goal, the minute he drives into this space with the ball, okay, he's dragging players across with him or with her. And that's the greatest thing. But all people ever see is then when we've got the defenders here, and that player then plays that wonderful through ball for the number 9 striker to then have a shot at goal, all we ever talk about is this bit here. They never ever talk about the beginning stages. So this is why I love the topic that Khaleesi has chose, because it's all about what you're doing before you receive the ball, when you receive the ball, and don't always assume that centre midfielders are all about making these amazing making runs in between lines forwards. For me, they're not the best midfielders. So let's imagine that we've got all of the defenders inside this line here. Then you've got, say, midfielders are in this section here. And then we'll say we've got attackers up here. And this is a conventional 4-3-3, okay? And people always talk about, can we get in this space here? This is where we need to get into. No. I don't focus on that. I'm looking for players who are unselfish and are willing, when they're in this position here, to make this run in here, or to make this run in here. Now, it might be slightly different depending on the position the player plays. Now, if the player's in the point, the position now actually might be making a run 1 metre that way, very quickly and sharply, and then making a sharp 10-metre run this way. Now, this might be to pull this particular midfielder with them, and then they pull that midfielder with them that way, and then it creates that pocket of space there. So it all depends really on where you are on the pitch, whether you're playing in the point as one of the holding defensive midfielders or you're in one of the attacking midfielders. The rule of thumb is, if you're over the halfway line, and that's what we would call an attacking midfielder, or if you're behind the halfway line, so this is in front of the halfway line. If you play in a holding position which is behind the halfway line, this is what we call a defensive mid. The types of runs and positions you need to take up on the pitch are slightly different, but we're trying to achieve the same goal. The first thing is, can we move to space like we've just shown you? The second thing is, can we pull an opposing player with you? And if not, can we then drive into space? And you guessed it, to create space. This is why some of the best coaches on the planet liken football to chess. It's about moving chess pieces on the pitch. Now, you could be playing against a team who's one of the most defensive-minded teams on the planet, and they're playing a 4-5-1. They're playing a really low block. We've got 4 really deep defenders. We've got the midfielders completely scattered in, and then we've got an isolated attacker there, okay? So it's all different against who you're playing against and who you're going to come up against. But you've got to be able to move this guy out, maybe as a chess piece into this space. Can we try and move this player sideways into this space? So when we're thinking about playing in a central midfield role, I'm thinking about positions and runs. I know, especially in Australia, it's not even coached properly, because all you ever hear people talking about, if they hear midfield and runs and positions, they all instantly think the ball and the players are all going one way. And that's not how it works. It's all about, remember, trying to create space. And if we create space, we can then attack into that space. And you know, sometimes it might take you 30 minutes in a game to be able to do that within that game. So look, I hope, guys, that helps you a little bit, and it helps Khaleesi, and it gives you guys some ideas on, you know, midfielders, positions and attacking and runs, and the type of runs that you need to do. What I would say to you is, with this one, again, you know, if we think into school and we think about our match objectives, what I want you to do is, I want you to start thinking about how could you turn that into a match objective. So I'm going to give you the challenge. I'm going to give a $50 voucher away for GOATs, okay? In the comments, I want you, we're going to go to a little break in a second, but in the comments during the break, I want you to build an objective for me on what we've just done. What is it you could mark in a game, successful and unsuccessful, and add them up and then give you a percentage? What are some of the things you could do? So if you want to win a $50 voucher for GOATs, all you've got to do is think about an objective, type it into the comments in YouTube, and at the moment there's only about 20 of us in here, and I'm going to give someone a $50 voucher for GOATs. So all you've got to do is, just based off that midfield element, I want you to come up with an objective that you could score yourself on a game day, rather than the other 5 objectives that we normally cover. So think about an objective that we could cover. I'm going to go to a very short break, and then when I come back, I'm going to read out some of the answers that we got. We've got quite a few questions in here as well. I'm going to get through some of them. And then what I will do to finish off for today's meeting, I will pick out the best objective, and I'll tell you who the winner is. So start dropping in the objectives that you could build. And I'll give you an example. One of the objectives that you could build might be, every time I try and walk to the canteen to buy a hamburger, I've got to go a certain way, and if I go to the left of anyone, I get a point. But if I get forced to go round to the right because there's people in the way, I'll go down as unsuccessful. So you've got to try and within that midfield attacking zone, and talking about midfielders like Khaleesi mentioned, about position and about making movements or runs, think on how we could build an objective around it, all right? I'll leave it with yous, and I will be back in a couple of minutes. Give me 90 seconds, guys.
You don't bunch up, you don't get sweaty. Simple as that.
One of the things I noticed about my Goats grip socks is the grip runs across the whole panel, so there's no bunching or sliding in your boots.
These grip pads will help you not slip when you're going in for a tackle.
My old socks will get sweaty halfway through the game. Not with Ghost grips, they stay cool and dry from start to finish.
These guards are so lightweight, you forget they're even there, but they still give solid protection. It's like full freedom to play a game without that clunky feeling. I used to wear bulky guards that slip down every game. These stay in place the whole time.
These shin pads are stretchy, durable, definitely not be ripping anytime soon.
Switch the goat sleeves now. They don't slip, they don't slide. Nice and snug, nice and tight.
It's crazy how light these things are. I've worn a lot of old school pads in my time. In these, are featherweight and super comfortable.
Why are you still wearing those?
Everyone, thank you for coming back. So I'm just having a little look at some of the comments and questions we've got in here. So one of the questions we got before was how many days a week should we do the beep test? So some of us should know this, but if we go into our school community, into the app, it tells you it's a minimum of 2 and I would say a maximum of 3. Now, for some of you might be going, what? 2 to 3 times a week? Guys, if you need more information on the beep test, I will show you it again. So if we go into this little screen control here, if we come back to there, if we go to classroom, and if we have a little look at the dugout, and then if we go to the beep test, okay, there's a reason why we need to work on the beep test here, and it tells you the scores that Premier League players have. Also, we've got a full idea on the foundational beep test. You need to do 3 in a week. And then also on the tests as well, there's a little bit more information, and this is being updated as well. So by tonight, you'll notice this will change and we'll explain that for you. But basically, you need to do 2 to 3 a week minimum. Now, guys, if you can't do 2 to 3 beep tests a week, you've got a major problem. Quite simply because even if you're getting to stage 14, 15, 16, it still only takes 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Okay, so you need to make sure you're doing it. Great question. Hey Ray, what does DOB stand for on the beep test results? So that's basically just your date of birth. So I just want to have a little look at what your date of birth is. That's all that's for. Great one as well, Ford. Thank you for answering that. I've only just seen you answered as well. That's why I love this community. I don't even have to answer. I reckon I could employ half of my players on this community and you'd be able to answer and teach these sessions for me. Hey Riot, Gav here. Hey Gav, I hope you're well, mate. I won't be able to complete my foundational beep test within a week since I've sustained a hamstring injury since the end of September. I've got my MRI and I've been told to rest. So Gav, on that one, don't worry. What we want is, in regards to the foundational beep test, we only want people who are fully fit, no issues, no niggly injuries to be doing the foundational beep test because it's 3 in a week. Now, you could do it Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You could go Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, as long as you do 3 in a week. But, guys, you need to be fit in a sense of physically fit to do a beep test. I don't mean you need to be super fit. And again, I don't want anyone to get embarrassed. If you send me beep test scores and you're getting like 3.2 and 2.8, no one's going to know because you're DMing me. I'll only know. And I'm telling you now, it's a starting point. I give you a quick example, a slightly different sport, but the beep test is very, very relevant to basketball and to tennis and a few other sports. Now, many years ago, a couple of years ago now, my eldest daughter won nationals and state titles in the USA. and she also won, in Spain, in Europe and in Australia. I got her to do the beep test 3 times a week. She went from being able to do the beep test, I think the best she could get was like 4.9 when she first done it. By the time she finished the beep test at the age of 14, she could get to 14.8. And it was no surprise to me that she went on and won state and national titles in tennis. And it was because she already had the tennis and the skill of tennis, but she just needed that foundational base of fitness, speed, deceleration to be chucked into the game, and it changed everything. Because what you've got to remember is, if you're able to move faster and decelerate quicker, you can get to the ball quicker, you can arrive to the ball faster, you can pick up more balls, you can get on the ball more. If you can decelerate quick, you can turn and recover quickly. It improves your whole game. Just something as simple as a beep test. So great one. So Gav, don't worry if you're not fit, my friend. Get yourself fit, get your MRI done. Do me a favour, keep me updated with your MRI results as well. Let's keep it in the group chat. And if you're happy to share how you're going with it as well, it's a good way of sharing the problem with us, and we can all help you with it, mate, because at some point in time, all of us are going to have injuries, even old people like me. I've got an L2 and an L3 injury in my back at the moment, and it looks like I've got to have surgery in January or February. So it happens to everyone, but you younger guys, boys and girls, you're going to come through your injuries a lot faster than someone like me. So share your problems if you're happy to, and we'll help you with it, and we can give you examples of how players who've had it before and how long it's taken them to come back. So next one is date of birth to fill in each time we record the results. No, just put your date of birth in once, that's all. If obviously, once you fill a sheet up and you send it in to us, then next time we can do it. Players, so one of the players we got mentioned for the centre midfielder was Ryan Gravenbach. He's very good on the half turn, he can pick up a pass. But all time is Paul Scholes due to his superb vision and passing. And that was from Darman. So great one. If you watch Ryan Gravenbach, I always say for Liverpool, don't watch what he does on the ball or when he makes the pass. If he does something killer, and I'm talking score a goal, or he puts in a killer pass to someone or an assist, rewind it back 10 seconds or 20 seconds, look for him on the pitch and look what he's doing. And I guarantee the first thing he's doing is that, scanning constantly. You're absolutely spot on. And also, that one that we spoke about on here, and Darman's, thank you for that comment. You put Paul Scholes as your overall player of all time. He's also my overall best centre midfielder of all time. Now, a lot of people say, Steven Gerrard surely is. Yeah, Steven Gerrard for me was world class, and he was a world class player in a very poor team, and he dragged Liverpool over the line a lot. But if you watch Paul Scholes, you'll see someone just exceptional. The stuff he does off the ball was just unbelievable. The scanning, the body positioning, the little runs he used to make back towards his own goal to create them pockets of space. That's what we were speaking about. That was what Paul Scholes was all about. Norm Wiles, hey Norm, I hope you're well. Jude Bellingham and Katrina Gorry, yeah. I have to agree. I mean, Katrina is unbelievable, but I think the big thing for Katrina as well is her fitness. I think she can do, I've seen this somewhere, I think her beep test result was like 15.1, which is unreal, especially in the women's game. Scanning when checking off, that's another great valid point. Pushing off the defender when you want to receive the ball. Xavi, I've seen that. Barcelona, like, just some of the dark arts that we talk about. And when we say dark arts, we're not talking about like standing on someone's foot or pinching them. I'm talking like the dark arts of just a little nudge in the back and then making that little 5 metre run backwards to get in that pocket of space or to go forwards. So that's another one. Positioning yourself in a way that you drag the opposition from their position, creating space for your team to attack, drive into the space to making a good run. Again, I can't disagree with that. And that's pretty much like what we've just covered in a nutshell, was all about the positioning yourself and being able to drag the opposition away with you. And the good thing is, if opposing players don't come with you, then that means you can then get into that space and receive the ball not under pressure. But remember, and I'll just show you this once more, and it's really, really important to show you this one because we've got to make sure we keep on top of this one. And I'll just I'll make sure that I've transitioned the screen so you can actually see my screen. So if we have a little look at this, hopefully you're seeing my screen now, but just touching on that one that we just spoke about. If you make this little run, so let's say we're attacking this way, we're trying to score a goal here, but we make a little run back towards our own goal and you get the ball there and the opposing players are here in midfield. If no one follows you in to this space here, never, ever, ever, ever try and hit that ball there or try and hit that ball there. What an absolute utter waste of a pass that will be, and I'll tell you why. Just this little subtle dribble here, little run this way here, is not only going to attract this guy or woman, and it will attract this guy or woman, but it's going to move this player as well. And as they come into you, what you can then do is you can then decide to attack the ball into that space, and then you can play that little through ball there for your fullback who's coming on, or maybe you can play that little clever ball in there for your number 9 to get on the end of, okay? So don't think that when you receive that ball in that particular space here, don't think when you're getting the ball there, if you've got the opposing midfielders here and you turn and you look this way and you're pointing this way, don't try and play that big long ball. That's such a wasted ball. Try and affect the opposing players. And that's what this particular person's saying on this comments on YouTube at the moment. It's exactly that. It's exactly, if you look at the comments, it's actually stating that try and affect the opposition, and that's the key word. Can we affect the opposing players? So that was a great comment, that one. Thank you for that one. Pass and move constantly. Yeah, 100%. If you're passing and then moving to a new space, you are going to destroy the opposing team. But how are you able to make a pass and move constantly for, say, 90 minutes? I'll tell you how. Beep test 3 times a week, because your fitness levels and your endurance levels will be through the roof and it'll be easy for you. And I'm telling you now, opposing players and opposing teams are going to look at you and go, who is this player? This player is like a flea. I just can't get anywhere near it, or I can't get anywhere near him. So very, very valid point. Is it better to train by yourself or train with 2+ people? So, great question, but all football's good football, and the big thing I always talk about are the 2 Qs, quality or quantity. Sometimes when you're training with 2 friends, you can recreate some of them situations that we were just talking about. So you could do a little drill. Now, if you're training on your own, you might take more quality because I'm getting more touches of the ball. So you've got to sort of level or balance it out. But for me, anything working on your own or in small groups, 2s, 3s, 4s, for me is on point. It's quality over quantity, and it's mega. And you've got to make sure you're touching the ball a lot and you're just keeping on stuff of tough all the time as we go through. Thanks, Ray. Will do. I've got my MR results. I'll share as soon as possible. So, Gav, as long as you're comfortable and Mum and Dad are, it's a great one to share, because unfortunately, someone else is going to go through this as well in the future within the platform, and we need to make sure that everyone can speak to someone, or at least read the story, that there's light at the end of the tunnel. Because the reason why we want you to write about it and put it on, once you come out the other end and then you record your beep test and you get to 15.2, we can go, do you remember Gav 6 months ago? He was getting an MRI and he was feeling a little bit sad and maybe a little bit negative with the situation, but now look at him, he's flying. So it's a great example of we can share and help everyone through getting through those disappointments. Next question, at what age do academy players overseas play on a full-size pitch? What size pitch do you recommend for 12-year-old players? In our league, the under-12s play a half field. So in England, in the Premier League, they've just changed everything to do with age groups, pitch sizes. For the last sort of 7 or 8, no longer even, for the past 15 years, we might have a game with, let's say, when I was at Leicester City, we went to Everton Football Club, but they also invited Derby County and Coventry City. So there was 4 teams there. So what we done was we split our squad of 15 or 16 players into 2, and we just mixed them up. We made sure we had a keeper for each team, and we literally played 6v6 or 7v7 games, and we done 20-minute games, and we went across the pitch. So we had a half field, but then we went halfway across a half field, so it was like a quarter of a pitch. So they're the sort of things that have been going on in England for 15, 20 years. And it just blows my mind in places like Australia and the USA. They're only starting to catch up now with the different sizes of pitches. We called it in the Premier League SSGs, and all SSG stands for is small-sided games. So what we would always have to do is tell the opposing team. So if we had Liverpool coming to play against us at Leicester City, we'd say, look, we've invited Nottingham Forest in as well. We're going to do an SSG, and it's going to be 5v5. They're the rules. And then we just let the kids play. It's just about letting them play. And you know what the nice thing was? Like, I can remember standing on the sideline, and I'm the Leicester coach, and I'm not doing any coaching, and I'm next to the coach from Liverpool, and we're just talking for the 20 minutes, because it's all about just let the game be the teacher. If you're one of these coaches and you're yelling and shouting and giving directions and recover and do this, that means either you haven't done your job during a week of training, or your players are not quite at that level yet. What I would be doing is have one of these, what I talk to you on and share my screen, and I would be making notes and go, okay, based off this, I'm going to make some notes, and it gives me ideas for the training session. But you've got to let players play the game and love it, and just let the game be the teacher. It's the best way to do it. Hopefully that answers that one, but it's a mix of pitch sizes in England, and that's what it should be everywhere else around the world. Are there any goals that players should strive for to do by, let's say, 2 months? So, Xavier, you know the answer, mate. You're on school, you've seen the platform, you know what you should be following. What I would be looking for within like a 2-month segment, you start to mark this yourself. So if you, like, as an example, if we're talking about your beep test, if you record 3 beep tests a week for a month, you'll be able to sit down with mum or dad, or you can give it to me, put it in a comment to me, and I'll help you with it. Say, Ray, I got 9.0, 9.4, 9.6, 9.8, and I'm now on 9.9. I can then teach you how to work out your percentage gain, so what the percentage increase is for that month. So then you might have grown 4% improvement on your beep test. So then for month 2, we've got to get to 4% better. It's the same with your objectives. If you record scanning and your objectives in January are 62%, and then in February you've got to 72%, that means you've increased by 10%. So the target should be for next month, we want to get to 10%. Now, are you always going to get to 10% improvement? No, because there's going to come a point where you can't get to past 100%. But it's good to chart and it's good to graph. Now, what you will notice is, and I want everyone to understand this, you will notice big gains in the first 3 to 6 months, because when you start something, you'll normally find you're pretty poor at it and there's loads of room to get better. But this is why they say at the top level, it's the 1% that matter. And the reason why the 1% matter at the top level, because when you're a Premier League player, you've already learned 97% of it probably. It's just that little 1% is going to be the difference in winning the game or scoring a goal. So hopefully that helps you with that one, mate. Next one that we've got is, let's see, we've got a few more questions in here. Is it good for me to do 2 or 3 hours of training in a single day with breaks in each hour? So again, I'll finish off on this one because we are nearly coming to a close. But in regards to your hours, if you haven't covered it, you should have covered it, but I'll show you where it is. So if I do my little screen control and take you back here, if you go to community, you can type how many hours and it should come up. There we go. And you can play that video there and watch it, and there's loads of good comments in there. Or what you can do is, which is a little bit easier, you can go back into your main screen, Classroom, section number 12, how many hours a week, and it'll take you to the same video, okay? So hopefully that one will answer that one for you, and that's going to tell you how many hours a week. So based on how many hours a week, you then need to work out how many hours a day, and then that will tell you how many hours you could do based on your age. So everyone's different based on different ages and ability levels. Now, guys, just to finish off, just a final reminder, if you want to share your link to anyone, what you can do is on here. I'm just going to share this with everyone so I can set my screen so it looks a little bit like yours. So when you're on here, if you go to About, and that's not what I was looking for. Let me come back here, apologies. So if we go community, if you go, you'll have an invite button, people here. If you click that and click copy, if you send that link to anyone, if anyone signs up, now it's free to join up. You can come in on this platform for free for the base level. And then if they want to upgrade, they can. But if you share this link and you copy it once you've joined in, and even if you join in for free and you don't pay to join, you can still copy this link. If you share this link to anyone, it will pay you 40%. So that will pay you roughly around about $300 to $350 every time you share the link. So if you want to earn some pocket money, or mums and dads want to get some extra money, if you need more information on that, if you go to Classroom and click on earn 40%, there's a couple of explainers you can go on. Earn 40% with Pro Player, or you can earn 30% with GOATs, and it will walk you through that. Also, guys, if you're not, you need to make sure you've subscribed to YouTube channel so you are able to comment, and then we'll go through that little bit of a section for you. So I do have to go today, guys. We are getting close to 7:30, and I'll tell you why. And in the next 48 hours, you're going to get a video shared. But we've got an amazing success story. We had a player join us on our Pro Player Pathway. This player actually lived in Malta, which is over in Europe, just off the coast of Africa. And this particular player joined us on the Professional Player Pathway. And after joining us on the Professional Player Pathway, they've just signed their first pro contract over in the UK. The player is 18 years of age, and it is super exciting. So if we can get a 17-year-old within 6 months to sign a pro contract, if you're younger than 17, imagine what we can do with you. So a big, big thank you for everyone who's joined me. We are going to end the call now. This will be dropped into the platform a little bit later on tonight or tomorrow morning. So if you have a look at the coaching weekly calls, I think it's section 8, I could be wrong. And a big thank you for joining us, guys, and I look forward to seeing you all on Thursday. I'll see you all in a couple of days. And if you want to drop in any topics like Khaleesi did, drop in the topic. If you're next in the leaderboard and you've given me one, I will cover that topic for you. I'll do a nice little whiteboard session, and I'll share my screen so you get to watch it live on air. Hopefully you enjoyed it, guys. And if you do enjoy it and you enjoy being part of the platform, even if you're not interested in earning 40%, do me a favour. Can you just share the link for me to your friends and family, and maybe players in school or at your club, and just copy it and send it to them and say, have a little look. It's free to join. And, you know, one of your friends might sign up and it'll pay you 40%. And that link that you copy within your screen, that money goes straight into your school account. It doesn't come to us. So earn yourself some pocket money for some football boots or some goats gear. Now, we didn't get anyone dropping in, just to finish off the best objective. So what I will do is I'm going to drop that in the questions in the skill chat, and I'll give away the $50 goats voucher there. A big thanks, guys. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you all on Thursday. Thank you for joining us today.
You don't bunch up, you don't get sweaty. Simple as that.
One of the things I noticed about my Goats grip socks is the grip runs across the whole panel, so there's no bunching or sliding in your boots.
These grip pads will help you not slip when you're going in for a tackle.
My old socks will get sweaty halfway through the game. Not with Goat grips. They stay cool and dry from start to finish.
These guards are so lightweight,